in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, California, Missouri. Now, we knew about this back in the mid-'90s, right through 2000, 2005, 2010. You remember last January, February, we got the MIAC and Homeland Security reports from state and federal law enforcement separately. And it reported that the number one threat is returning veterans, gun owners, conservatives, libertarians, Ron Paul supporters, Bob Barr supporters, Second Amendment groups. And now they're out in the open. They say, yes, Homeland Security is for the American people. They sold it to you in the name of Al-Qaeda, but it's really for the American people. This is the big issue. And State Representative Daryl Metcalfe joins us. He's the Assembly's #1 conservative, multiple-time highest-ranking lawmaker of the Pennsylvania Liberty Index. And the website says State Legislators for LegalImmigration.com founder. And Daryl Metcalfe joins us because his Second Amendment group was listed by this private group that was paid $125,000 to spy on Quakers, anti-war groups, groups against gas drilling, Second Amendment groups, Tea Parties, basically everybody being spied on. And he joins us now. Representative Metcalfe, thanks for coming on.
Good to be with you. Thanks for having me today.
Let's start at the beginning. When you first learned about this, how your group's listed, the group, the head of state Homeland Security for 2 weeks, the Pittsburgh Post and others are reporting is in hiding, won't talk to the media. The governor's apologized. There's lawsuits have been filed. Many are saying this is illegal, what happened. I mean, let's start from the beginning.
Well, we actually had a taxpayer protest to protest the budget situation here in Pennsylvania back in June, on June 8th, and that's the first time that we were alerted that somebody has put out information that our rally that we were having on behalf of taxpayers in June to invite taxpayers to come to the state capital of Pennsylvania, share with their legislators that they're fed up with the excessive spending, the excessive debt, that they want to see less spending, less taxes. That rally was actually announced on this Institute of Terrorism Research and Response. And we had actually received contact from our security people at the Capitol back in June to let us know that there was this elevated terrorism threat alert that was sent out from this Institute of Terrorism Research and Response. And they had misidentified another group said that another group was associated with sponsoring the rally that I was actually sponsoring as a state legislator with some concerned citizens from around the state of Pennsylvania who were concerned about state spending.
And they write these reports for law enforcement to basically prejudice them against Second Amendment, Tea Party groups, you name it. Representative, are you aware last year of the MIAC and Homeland Security reports where the federal government is writing these reports for the states, demonizing returning veterans and gun owners?
I am. Actually, I signed on to a letter with one of my colleagues here in Pennsylvania to let the administration know of how offensive that was and how wrong it was to do so. I'm a veteran, a U.S. Army veteran myself. I am a gun owner. I have been for many, many years, since the age of, I think, 13 or 14, when I bought my first shotgun as a young aspiring hunter in upstate New York. So I certainly fell into that list as a Christian, as a gun owner, as a veteran, which was a very offensive list that should have alerted every American that our government had gone off the track in actually allowing this type of assessment to be made about their citizens, especially law-abiding citizens.
And now we learn, Representative Metcalfe, that it's more widespread than we had previously known. Let's talk about the head of your state Homeland Security who's in hiding, where he's hiding, how do we find out, lawsuits that are being filed over this, and we'll talk about the private group that was hired with taxpayer money to do this. It's all coming up on the other side of this quick break. Stay with us. We've got Pennsylvania General Assemblyman Daryl Metcalfe on. The website's www.repmetcalfe.com. And here's some of the headlines. Quakers anti-war rallies on alert list. Pennsylvania Homeland Security targeted Tea Parties. I mean, basically everybody under the sun, and it turns out they were involved at the G20 fingering groups that were arrested ahead of the summit. One of my reporters was arrested while they were there, and the police asked him, "Are you a terrorist?" I mean, this is insane. And specifically, Representative, we're hearing reports about lawsuits being filed, that this could be criminal. What do we know about this private group that was paid $125,000 just last year to compile these lists?
Well, what I know is that this group compiled lists that they targeted two of my rallies that I hosted. One was the Second Amendment rally that you had mentioned, which was actually our 5th annual rally for the right to keep and bear arms here in Pennsylvania. We've had speakers here to speak at it, such as former Ambassador Alan Keyes. We had Wayne LaPierre from the NRA. Larry Pratt from Gun Owners of America has been at all 5 of our rallies and spoke at all 5 of our rallies over the years. Had coalition of Second Amendment groups from across the state that have participated in these rallies. We've had upwards of over 1,000 attendees at last year's rally and probably 700-800 at this year's rally. So our rallies appeared, a rally that I've been the key organizer of for Second Amendment Pennsylvania, as I said, 5 years in a row, was on this list of the Institute of Terrorism Research and Response. They were employed by the Pennsylvania Homeland Security to generate this type of information. The Director of Homeland Security, I sent a letter to yesterday, day before yesterday, calling on the Director of Homeland Security to give me information on what types of investigations or surveillance may have been an outworking of this alert. Did they place phone taps on any of my phone lines? Were they surveilling the rally or any of the participants of the rally that I hosted and organized? How many of my advisors have come under the scrutiny of Pennsylvania Homeland Security because of this? So there's a whole host of questions that...
well, they told my reporters in Pittsburgh that you're going to be on lists for the rest of your life, literally for no reason. They had done...
and that's outrageous for law-abiding citizens, law-abiding Americans, to become under the scrutiny of Big Brother like this is the wrong use, is an abuse of power, is an abuse of our constitutional and a violation of our constitutional rights. We are going to be having a hearing. The state Senate in Pennsylvania is going to have a hearing. The Veterans Affairs Emergency Preparedness Committee, I believe the official name of the committee, under Senator Lisa Baker, next Monday will convene a hearing that they've granted to themselves subpoena power to try and get to the bottom of what's going on here. And I just penned a letter to Senator Baker yesterday to ask her to help me, because it is a Senate hearing. I'm a member of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, so I won't be in attendance at that or able to participate in that hearing. But I've asked Senator Baker to take my letter, take my questions, and pose those to those that they're questioning and to those that they're trying to obtain the information from on Monday to hopefully help us get to the bottom of it. But besides myself as an elected official, elected by tens of thousands of citizens in Pennsylvania that send me here to be their voice in state government, and that my name, rallies that I've been associated with, actually, under my name, appears on this Institute of Terrorism Research Group's list. And then we find out from looking at their website that one of their primary officers in this company is an American here in York County, Pennsylvania, but that one of their key officers is an Israeli, and it really appears more that this company more is based out of Israel than it is out of the States. There's questions concerning how much of this what's the link here between Israeli Defense Forces that this company is claiming to work with, and what's their contacts with the Mossad? I mean, there's just a real eerie feeling that people get when you start hearing about this type of scrutiny, this type of surveillance by a government that's supposed to be a servant instead of a master.
Well, Representative Metcalfe, I know you're on the road today, and you were nice to come on with us while you're on the road, but I want people to really be able to clearly hear you. It's intelligible. We're having a little bit of a problem. Are you on a hands-free with your cell phone?
Is that any better?
That's 100% better.
All right, I had an earpiece there.
No, I could tell. We probably should have. But okay, now we can. No, I want you to start over with the Israeli Defense Force connections, because we've done some in-depth research on this, and if so have Pennsylvania papers. This is clearly an Israeli company. Now that the state head of Homeland Security, this former Special Forces member of the Army, he will not do press interviews. He's missing in action. The press is reporting he's disappeared, so that should be in the hearings as well. But recap what you were just saying about the eerie feeling, knowing that basically a foreign-connected group to a foreign government is spying on Second Amendment rallies that a member of the state legislature has. I mean, this sounds like something out of Soviet Russia or something.
Well, it does. It's something that you just see written in some of those science fiction spy-type novels, or maybe something that you did hear about that happened in reality in Russia or in the Eastern Bloc countries of yesterday. But for this company that has one of their officers, as revealed on their website, that's out of York, the York area here in Pennsylvania, York County area. But then one of the other primary officers being an individual who is an Israeli, and really from the website it looks more like it's an Israeli-based company than an American-based company, claiming that they have ties with the Israeli Defense Forces. It really creates that eerie feeling that so many Americans express when you talk about big government or government infringing your constitutional rights, starting to persecute American citizens because of their beliefs or their values. And as someone who's elected by tens of thousands of Pennsylvanians, sent to the Capitol to be their voice, to express their will in government, to be their government, to serve them in government, and then to come under this type of scrutiny for rallies that I'm setting up with law-abiding citizens from across the state is outrageous and needs to be thoroughly investigated and needs to be prosecuted to ensure that it doesn't happen again.
Well, clearly, this is an attempt to intimidate people and to expand the Israeli connection. The Southern Poverty Law Center has some connections, but the ADL has been caught working with Mossad and more appears to be a foreign intelligence group operating in the United States. And now this further connection in Pennsylvania and the groups they listed mirrors the ADL reports, where we know the federal government gives them grants to come in and help write these reports. What I'm saying is the public ADL reports mirror the MIAC, the Homeland Security, the secret now published Pennsylvania reports. And so what is Israel? I mean, if England was doing this, if China was doing it, we'd be angry. Why is the federal government and the state government contracting with Israeli groups to spy on American citizens? Well, the answer is to chill political speech. And I think there should be congressional hearings about this.
I agree with you 100%. It's first of all, I mean, let no one be mistaken in what they're hearing. If this was an American-owned company that was doing the same exact thing, it would be a violation of our rights, a violation of our trust, an abuse of power. I mean, it would be outrageous.
And classic tyranny. Classic tyranny.
Oh, and that's exactly right. It's tyrannical. And then when you involve a foreign-owned company in this type of tyrannical behavior, it really gives that eerie feeling of a mercenary type approach to hiring mercenaries in to actually try and intimidate and push your citizens back into a corner.
Well, let me expand, Representative Metcalfe. If you're at a computer or when you get out of your car, type in NLE, National Level Exercise 09, you will read from FEMA.gov that 14 countries, including Israel, but British and others, were involved in a Homeland Security drill of tracking domestic extremists in a simulated war with the American people. So we know this is going on. I've been covering this specifically for more than 13 years or so. I've been on air 15. But we know, I mean, I have Washington Post articles where they've signed North American Union agreements to use Mexican and Canadian troops to, quote, deal with American terrorists. And then we have the Homeland Security reports where they say the number one enemy is returning veterans, Christians, gun owners, people that want to end the Federal Reserve. I mean, this is really happening. And our Brigade Homeland, Army Times reports, is being trained by Israelis. You could really expose this with these hearings. When are these hearings coming up?
The Senate hearings are going to start on Monday, this coming Monday. And as I said, I'm a member of the Pennsylvania House. It's not going to be a hearing of the House. It's not a joint hearing. It's just a hearing of one of the standing committees from the Pennsylvania Senate. But it's a beginning to try and get to the bottom of this and try and gather more information. I've sent my own request to the Director of Homeland Security. I'll be subsequently, it looks like, filing up here with some right-to-know requests to see what kind of information we can gather there. But ultimately, you're just doing follow up on the abuse that's already occurred.